Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to a special episode of Cops Court and Coffee. I'm Darnell Leeson. Now, what I have for you right now is the press conference by the chief of NYPD detectives, Chief Boyce, and he's announcing the capture of the murder suspect of Karina Vetrano, the jogger from Howard Beach, New York, and the suspect has been identified as Chanel Lewis, a 20-year-old from East New York, Brooklyn. So check out the press conference, and I'll be back.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Chief Robert Boyce, the Chief of Detectives in New York City. This is a very good day for justice in New York City. With me today is Judge Brown, the Queens DA, Captain Bohannon, the 106 Precinct Commander, Chief Manny Katranakis from my Forensic Investigation Division, Chief Joe Kenny from Queens South Detectives. Yesterday evening, Chanel Lewis, a 20-year-old male who resides in East New York, Brooklyn, was taken into custody in connection with the August 2nd, 2016 murder of Karina Vetrano in Howard Beach, Queens. After an extensive 6-month investigation, during which over 250 leads were received from the public and over 1,700 investigative reports were prepared, numerous DNA files searched, detectives were able to identify Lewis as the suspect in this case. Follow-up investigation developed forensic evidence linking him to the crime. Lewis was interviewed by detectives and made detailed, incriminating statements and admissions. Charges are now pending. I would like to thank the staff of the Queens District Attorney's Office and their assistance in this investigation, as well as the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. They've been tremendous during this entire investigation. A tremendous effort on part of the NYPD over the last 6 months. If you remember back in August of this year, this was a 3-week crime scene in a hot August sun. We brought members of the SRG in to clean out that park of weeds so we can develop and identify pieces of evidence, which we did, linking our perpetrator to that crime. We'd also like to thank the 106 Precinct. Personally, I'd like to thank the community of Howard Beach, Queens, who have been nothing but supportive of us in our efforts. We will never forget that. I would like to thank those members of the public who provided potential leads during the course of this investigation. Finally, I would like to once again acknowledge the work of the greatest detectives in the world. Our field investigators and forensic investigation divisions worked thoroughly and tirelessly in bringing this case to justice. I'll now take any questions.
Chief Boyce, can you let us know when you first brought Mr. Lewis in for questioning and how long it took with the DNA match?
Sure. As I said, 6 o'clock last night, he was taken into custody. We first spoke to him on February 2nd, which is Thursday. It's been reported that we had him for months. We did not. We did a deep dive as far as intelligence gathering, and we found a 9/11 call from May of this year, prior to the homicide, of him being in Howard Beach. From that, we developed a profile. This all happened in the last 10 days or so. A profile where he has no criminal history, this male, but he does have a number of summonses in and around that area. I spoke pretty extensively about that Queens-Brooklyn border right there. We were able to identify the fact that no one came out of that park on the Howard Beach side of that. So now we did a turn into East New York, Brooklyn, and that bicycle path that runs along the Bell Parkway. It's there that he got most in and around that area. He received those 3 summonses for criminal court summonses for various issues. We started to look further and found other information that I will not disclose right now. We went to his house, and you have to remember we have had a lot of leads in this case, and each one was vetted painstakingly by detectives. Long case. We spoke to him, and that night, that was Thursday night, he freely gave a buccal swab of his DNA to us. We brought that immediately to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, where within 2 days we had a hit of the DNA we recovered from the crime scene. I want to go on to thank the crime scene unit, because without their intense 3-week in the heat of August, I can't tell you. I was out there quite a few times, and I'm sure the Vetrano family was with me each time. Tough doing. We had to cut down weeds, but we found each piece that linked this male to this investigation.
The 911 call, just to follow up, was he in Howard Beach and did neighbors call to complain about him?
We have a member of the community called, and it said it was not complaint, it was a suspicious person, and then he was identified by members of the 106 Precinct.
The family trying to push for this
That's not clear yet. Right now, it did not. However, could this accelerate the investigation? Has to be determined in the next couple of days. So I don't have an answer for you right now.
Did you find any evidence inside the house that also how does he link up with his profile?
The profile is similar, and that's a whole different. It'll take me an hour to give you that, Miles, because he does not work. He lives at home with his mother, and I don't want to comment on his social, where he is socially. So that's for another day to talk about that. We are doing the search warrant as we speak right now. So you got to remember, 6 months since that time. So we have we'll see what we got out of the search.
Chief, you're talking about that. DNA evidence linking this suspect to the crime scene or to the victim?
Both. You got to remember, Karina helped us identify this person. She had the DNA under her nails. She had touched DNA on her back, and there was more DNA on the cell phone. So 3 incidents. That's how we were able to bring this profile up, and that's how we made the link.
So it's no say it could be that he got the cell phone from someone that also been involved.
If you know that park, and the cell phone's from a person as well. Cell phone only adds to that. The big thing is that we got it from her person.
Do you believe that Lewis knew her? Did he know her prior to this?
We don't believe he knew her at all.
Chief, when did you make the arrest? Was it at Mr. Lewis's home or?
It was. Mr. Lewis lives in East New York, Brooklyn. We went to his house and asked him to step outside, and he was placed under arrest.
Can you speak to his mental state? Do you know that he maybe has some type of mental illness? Or
It's difficult to comment on that right now, and I'm not going to. So that'll be further on in the case. As I said, he made detailed incriminating statements, and that's part of that. And if you remember early on, Miles, I said this case would pivot into East New York, and that's exactly what it did. Because we had plenty of cameras on the Howard Beach side, just to reiterate that. None of which showed anybody linking that farm. First time. There is, because if you go to Erskine, it's a quick way out off that path, and that leads you on the Fountain Avenue and other parts of East New York. So that was a deep dive on us as well.
what kind of suspicious reports were you getting from neighbors? How did those things help you determine the case guidance?
A key player in this investigation, one of my lieutenants, John Russo, who lives in the area, and one of the best cops on the job. And he was able to help out with that identification. And I don't want to go too far into that, but as much as anybody did a nice job.
Chief, in his statements, did he indicate whether this was a chance encounter, had he been stalking the park, or?
Okay, very detailed statements that I don't want to go into right now. It appears to be a chance encounter. I don't think there was any stalking. At least we haven't gotten there yet, Tony. So we'll go forward with that. But right now, from what his statements were, it was a chance encounter.
Detailed statements that talk to contrition or detailed statements that talk to,
Each step of the assault.
Chief, you mentioned the bike path in East New York, Erskine Street. I mean, I know that after the murder, there was a big push to put cameras up along Gateway. Is there any idea how shore up that bike path? I know it's been a concern for people in Howard Beach.
It's a question for another day. We don't get a lot of crime there. This is very unusual. This is a rural part of New York City, where there are cameras up there now. There is private sector cameras, homeowners and things like that helped in this investigation. Because if you remember, that pointed us into East New York, because we didn't have that. Sometimes what you don't have is
Two more questions.
When you spoke to her parents, what was their reaction? How were they feeling?
I'm going to keep that between me and them.
You guys have done a sketch shortly after
Yes.
the gentleman was involved. Is this that person?
We will. There's a identification procedure that has to be done going forward with that. So right now, I don't want to comment on that, but that'll be part of the ongoing investigation. You have to remember, we're a very short amount of time into this arrest.
Just to be clear, the 911 call that was made for suspicious activity by the neighbors, did that call come in on Thursday?
This is in May of this year. Yeah. It was a deep dive when we went back and looked at it. You got to remember, we looked at everything we could find: arrests, 911 calls, summonses. This is all part of that.
We're all talking about that May call and the summons behavior.
The summons behavior goes back to 2013. The summons behavior was identified after we identified him, and that's through the 911 call.
what kind of behavior, what was happening? Was he trespassing?
Suspicious person, which we get all the time.
That's separate from the lieutenant who saw him.
That lieutenant contributed to that 911 call.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
Judge, you wanna say something?
I know that there are many, many questions that all of you have. But in the interest of a fair and professional presentation of these charges. I urge you to wait until you see the complaint, the criminal court complaint, and hear our assistance at the arraignment, and put all the pieces together. But suffice it to say that this is a great day for the community, for the detectives that worked on this case day in and day out, and of course it will hopefully bring some degree of closure to the Vetrano family. So I personally want to thank everyone that was involved in this investigation, and as Chief Boyce said at the beginning, you've certainly got the best detectives that you could ever possibly find here in New York City, but particularly here in Queens. Thank you.
Judge, thank you, Father.
So as you heard, Chief Boyce and the Queens DA, Richard Brown, give their take on the events that occurred. And of course, we're going to stay on top of this story for you guys and bring you the most updated information as soon as we can. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, no one cares like we do. And I'll see you guys in the next video.